Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Funny Business Podcast. From where you may be living at, it may be a little colder. The nights might be getting a little earlier tonight, but that's okay. We're here to bring light and warmth to you in this fantastic episode that we're bringing you today and moving forward, because every week you're ready to tune in. You're ready to listen to Matt and I. Matt, how are you today, my pal? How are things?
Screw daylight savings time. All my homies hate daylight savings time. I mean, it sucks. Like, driving home in the dark sucks.
I think there was a tweet I saw that we are only allowed to say it once. So we did say it once. Daylight savings time sucks. We cannot say it for the next 5 months.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm agreed with that. I just don't understand how, like, some parts of the country just don't acknowledge it.
Right. Well, I've been seeing, so based on my research, which is none of it.
It's called Facebook?
It's called, yeah, right where my aunt and uncle get all their information. Not that I'm pointing out any particular aunt and uncle. That's
Right.
just the typical, your aunt's Facebook is the one where she gets most of the information that aliens are taking over Southern California. Yeah. Daylight savings time, as Jenna and I talked about it, is meant for crop procedures and crops purposes. Like, daylight savings time was meant to give farmers an extra hour to, not now where it's like the winter time, but spring forward. What is that called again? I'm drawing a blank. Like what? Spring forward. This was daylight savings time.
This was fall back.
Right, but what's
forward?
Spring forward? What is that specifically called? Was that daylight savings again?
Yeah, so daylight savings begins in the spring. Daylight savings ends in the fall. Yeah.
Okay. So
right.
Particularly, daylight savings time is meant for farmers to get that extra hour of sunlight to farm, gather crops, and that was back then. We didn't have the good old John Deere and all the other amazing machinery that John Deere's can hold. So yeah, I've seen I've seen people in like political offices being like, we need to end this, we need to stop this. But I came home, it was like 5 o'clock and it was dark, and I'm like, oh my God, we still have a podcast to record, and I still feel tired. So
yeah, that was Sam. I had to get a second coffee again at lunch today. Yeah, the state of Arizona just like doesn't do it. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That's okay. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's badass. It's total badass.
Oh my gosh, Matt. Well, while we are trying to figure out the world's questions, I thought we would do a fun segment today, Matt, to start off the pod. I saw this recently on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. It was more of a scripted segment, but I'd love to bring up the questions that were asked. So Stephen Colbert sat down on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and in a very Mr. Rogers-like outfit with a nice red sweater on, and he almost looked like him, believe it or not. But kids actually submitted video questions for him to answer. And of course, it was very comical, but I thought to myself, why don't we ask the two most intelligent, most handsome two individuals in the podcasting world and see what our thoughts are on these particular questions that were asked by kids?
So is there a correct answer to this question? Or is this just like, oh, okay.
This is just, I will read the first question. We'll be like, oh, so that's how it's going to go. So
I just didn't want another like Wisconsin, Canada debacle that we've had.
Vermont. Let me do a weird one first, because I really didn't know but Matt, I'm going to ask you this question. We could discuss it. So a kid asked to Steven, which we will ask right now, why are my toes so wrinkly in the bathtub?
Oh,
see what I mean?
Yep. Let's see. There's got to be a logical explanation for this. Maybe there's the water absorbs like something. I don't know.
I also should say too, this should be wrong answers only as well, if you feel like you want to throw in another one.
Oh, okay, perfect. So then there's salt in our toes. And then when we bathe in the shower or the bathtub, the water absorbs the salt, and then there's the toes just kind of like sink in.
I did not think you would be going in that direction.
Yeah, that's actually like science. You don't have to look that up.
It's science. Yeah. I think Steven said that if you stay in the bathtub long enough, that parts of your body will get old. And the more that it starts to wrinkle, it will get older. So like it starts at your toes and then it goes up to your face. So like obviously it's hitting your hands, hitting your toes. Got to be careful elsewhere because you never know.
Crinkle your nose.
Yeah, a little crinkle. Little crinkle in the nose. So yeah, that was a quick one. Let's talk about this one, Matt. How hard is a grown-up's work?
Difficult. Very difficult. Yeah. I mean, not only is it actual work, but then you come home, you got to make food. You got to take out the trash. You got to keep up the yard work. You got to shovel snow.
You do that all the time?
Never fun.
You do
every single
all those
day.
things?
Every single day.
Really?
Yep. Absolutely. I shovel snow in July.
July.
Yep.
Christmas in July.
Yep. Cleaning the house sucks. We had people over last weekend. I had to clean the house. Yeah. Was not fun. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. And then there's your actual job, which can get very difficult at times. So yeah, just don't ever grow up.
I became very domestic this past weekend. I went to go get a spray bottle, a 2-gallon of vinegar, and I decided to mix baking soda and vinegar to make my own cleaning solution.
Huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The smile on your face.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, hey, let me tell you. My bathtub's clean. My sink is clean. Both sinks. Which, a matter of fact, I guess the knob that's both on my shower and my sink, I don't think was clean from the last tenant. Because I cleaned those things and I'm just getting grossed out just thinking about it now. Clean as a whistle, my pal. Clean as a whistle. And I actually took off the knob from the actual, like I had to take screw it off, take it off, dip it in this, it was one part water, 1 part vinegar. There was no baking soda involved. But dude, man, that cleaned off. It is clean as a whistle, my pal.
Sure it did. I am sure it did.
Dude, I'm saving
Windex
money.
would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, but the difference between Windex and what I made is it's going to save me a ton of money.
No comment. It's gonna bypass that.
Yeah. You know, I saw some podcasting tips never to start making inside jokes, but I'm already seeing the inside joke already from here.
Hey, it's important to clean. We'll go with that. Yeah.
Yes. Clean. But yeah, I mean, grown-ups work is pretty hard if you think about it. You have to learn about it first. And then if you want to get a better job, you have to learn even more. And then that costs more for you to do that. And then all of a sudden you're in this middle of, you get like the allowance that like the people that you work for, they give you an allowance. I'm trying to put this in kids' terms. But then at the same time, the government takes all that allowance. And then the government even takes more of it and decide to learn more. And
then they'll give you like a little Christmas bonus in like April.
They'll give you a Christmas bonus in April, unless that gets stuck in some type of freaking filing cabinet that doesn't show up until the end of the year.
Correct.
Correct. Oh boy. I did get that. Did I?
That was good. Yeah, you did. Yes.
I did, because I said for my down in the dumps that I had to make my first loan payment because I had to be the adult. So
R.I.P.
But yeah, grown-ups work is pretty tough.
Yep, it's not fun.
No, it really isn't. Matt, the next question: if you wish upon a star, do all your dreams come true?
Yes, 100%.
Do you have a particular scenario that you've wished for?
Off the top of my head, I feel like just probably like getting my life back together as of like 6 months ago.
What a journey.
Yeah, right. It's been crazy.
That's like the previous question. How hard's grown-ups work? It requires me to wish upon a star.
Yes. No, they coincide.
Did you look up in the sky often as a kid and like was just looking like, where's this, like stars? Like you always try to find the North Star. Have you always like you were trying to find the North Star all the time?
No, we used to have like a little trailer cabin thing in Promised Land.
Okay.
And we would just sit out under the fire and just like look up at the stars like all night. It was just awesome.
And then like you apparently thought you knew like the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, and it was just probably just a constellation together that looked like it.
I had no idea what I was looking at. Fun fact, in my middle school, we used to have like an astronomy room.
Yeah.
I forget what they're called.
not a observatory? Was it with
kinda.
a telescope? Was it with a telescope, or were you just like
You just looked up and the stars like appeared on the thing. Not like an auditorium, arbor, whatever. Crap, it was really cool.
They had that during elementary school. They had like an inflatable thing that they just put up a projector and it just projected all of these different stars and stripes and all these good things. That
but that was cool. I knew that stuff for a little bit, and then I went to high school. I was like, I don't remember any of this, but it was still cool to look at the stars.
Yeah, no, it's always space, but like lots of space. Why do they call it space? But I think the craziest thing that I've said on the podcast is we know more about space than we do our own ocean depths.
Fun fact, did you know the Earth came out of the moon came out of the Earth?
Yes, meteorite.
But allegedly, like, the Earth gave birth to the moon.
Unless you're God, and God created the Earth. And
correct.
And the stars. And
correct.
The animals,
yes.
And Adam
absolutely.
and Eve. And then all those weird things about Adam and Eve happened that we don't need to go in any further.
Nope. Yep. Just bypass that.
Just completely bypass that. Matt, last question. How can I become a billionaire or millionaire one day?
So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pillowcase, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to make the size of that pillowcase like 6 inches bigger. No, I'm sorry. You got to take the pillows. You're going to make the size of standard pillows 6 inches bigger. Then that's going to force everyone to buy bigger pillowcases. Who uses pillows? Oh, guess what? Every single person on the planet. Billionaire in like, I don't know, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, roughly 3 to 5.
I was gonna say start a podcast because we're all millionaires and billionaires around here,
right?
And or Dogecoin. And just
Dogecoin, you will go to the moon. That's a great point.
You can't you can't have that tagline without saying that you're gonna go to the moon. Like, you can't have that.
Yeah, right. No, if your tagline is to the moon, like, I'm in. Like, we're going to the moon. Yeah, it's happening at some point.
Matt, do you have any weird kids questions that you had as a kid?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
You want to know what was the craziest thing I realized? And I cried actually at dinner at a restaurant.
Sure.
About life. Like, legit, like life expectancy.
Thought you meant like the game board Life.
No.
Great game.
Like the life expectancy of a human. Like, my parents had to break it to me that they weren't going to live forever, ever, and neither is the family. And I was just like, wait, what? I can't remember how old I was. I was very young, but to hear about that, I was almost in tears. Like, and I cried a lot as a kid, but I was just upset. I didn't cry. I was just upset as I'm reflecting.
Why is the sky blue?
You had that as a kid?
Why is the sky blue? The best answer I can give is that the sun reflects off the ocean. The ocean blue bounces off into space.
The atmosphere.
Right.
I also wondered why, I don't know if I mentioned this, I also wondered why we couldn't build a Walmart in our backyard. Because then I would get all the toys. Point. Then I would get all the toys for free because it's in our backyard.
That's true. You should have just had your dad open a Walmart.
I also didn't. I think I did share this. I didn't realize stock too, like stock in like a store. That I always planned on hiding the toy that I wanted that I couldn't get that day behind like Barbie dolls, and also didn't realize that there obviously is a stock. Like, of the items. So even if it was to be purchased, there'd still be more being put up there. But I didn't understand stock either as a kid.
I still don't understand it.
Stonks.
Yeah. Here's another great one.
Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
The same as does a bear shit in the woods.
Well, a bear does shit in the woods.
Well, it does, but
right.
It has to make a sound.
Correct, but no one hears it.
How do we know that?
Yeah. Right. It's maybe the stupidest question of all time.
Could be an echo. You don't know. Echo.
It could be. Right. You hear a sound, you're like, oh, I wonder what that was. Maybe it was a tree falling.
Maybe it was a tree falling.
Who knows?
There was today at work. I switched to my fancier winter coat because I just wanted to, and like
on a day that it was like 65 degrees out.
Yeah, which gets awful because, like I said, it's 23 degrees in the morning. You have to wear a certain coat. And then when you're leaving, you have it in your right hand. You're like, screw it. Like, why am I wearing this coat when I have to?
Yeah. It hit 70 down here today.
70?
Yeah. This is ridiculous.
That shouldn't happen. That should not happen. Excuse me. Lost an hour, gained an hour of sleep. I'm still tired.
It's really like you do gain an extra hour of sleep, but it really does throw you off.
It does. I was texting you. I was like, I'm in bed right now. It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It was rough.
Oh, man. Yeah, so kids' questions. If you're a kid, let us know what type of questions you have.
Just get your parental supervision first.
Yep, Papa Matt and Papa Mike will answer some of those great questions that kids have. So, Matt, I'm sounding the alarm. I don't know if I will put this in post or anything like that. We got a bit of a situation here.
Uh-oh.
So, Matt.
Oh, no. Yep.
You have formed a new relationship.
I have.
I have been in a relationship.
Correct.
Matt, there's a new terminology going around.
Oh, no.
And it's not let's just say, let's just kind of just take some time to understand some of the terminologies we've had. So there's booty calls, right?
Yeah, I think that's self-explanatory.
There's friends with benefits.
Correct.
Matt, there's a new terminology. There's a new terminology going around called a situationship.
Oh, I've heard of a situationship.
You've heard of a situationship.
I have. I don't really quite know what it is. I think it's kind of like another casual relationship kind of thing. It's like a step above friends with benefits, but a step below relationship.
Well, Matt, you are in luck because I did some research today, and we're going to talk about a situationship.
Perfect. Okay, I'm in.
So apparently this was coined in the new season of Married at First Sight. This was reported by NBC News. 30-year-old Deanna McNeil explains to her 10-year relationship gap to her new husband, Gregory, by using a term you might not be familiar with. Deanna, I haven't been in relationships, but I've been in situationships, she says. Less than a relationship, but more than a casual encounter or booty call. A situationship refers to a romantic relationship that is and remains undefined.
So,
discuss.
Okay, so this makes total sense now. People just made this word up because in this scenario, like I said, it's like a step below relationship, a step above FWBs. You're one or the other. You just got to pick one.
So they go on more. A situationship is that space between a committed relationship and something that is more than a friendship, explains, and it's by a psychotherapist and author, Jonathan Alpert. I have no idea who this person is, but apparently, whatever. Oh, jonathanalpert.com. He has his own website. Unlike a friends with benefits or relationship, there isn't consensus on what it is. So it's basically two people who have no idea what they want in their life, and they're just there.
Or they just never talked about it. Because if you talk about it, you're going to pick a friends with benefits or relationship.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So you may ask, why is this becoming a trend now, Matt? Culturally, our expectations of relationships have changed. People are getting married later in life, and many people are eager to explore relationships in a less structured way without pressure to commit, as they prioritize self-knowledge and developing as individuals. This was spoken by Saba Harani Luri, a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing in California. Matt, this isn't good for society. I'm just going out on a limb. This isn't good for society.
Oh, no.
It's not.
Absolutely not. No. Again, you just have to have a conversation. It's someone's got to say, like, hey, what are we? And then you're going to panic, and you're going to have the conversation, and then guess what? You're going to choose one or the other. Like a situationship, I feel like situationship shouldn't even be a word. I feel like it should just be called, like, they haven't talked about it yet.
See,
that's really all it is.
The thing that becomes the quote, left or right, blue pill, red pill, is, would you rather be in a friends with benefits or a situationship?
I think they're the same thing.
You think they're the same thing?
I do, because, I'm actually going to say they're just friends with benefits, because at that point, you don't want a relationship. You're just friends with benefits. If you really wanted a relationship, you would pursue it. So really, you're just friends with benefits, and you're just saying we're more than that, but you're really not. I don't know if it's maybe to ease their minds or to make them feel better. I don't know. I've never been in this situation before.
Situationship. Alex Cooper, if you talk about this next week on Call Her Daddy podcast, we own the discussion, or to be on the show, at least. You have to tag us.
Could you imagine if we went on Call Her Daddy?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. If there was a Zoom call, I would be uncomfortable. I would not put my camera on.
I am not that comfortable talking about our sex life on the podcast.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that.
Nope, not at all.
No.
People come here for comedy and sports, not sex advice. Like Father Daddy Cooper calls it.
Yeah.
Yikes. Now the Dave Portnoy show, absolutely. I'd love to.
Well, did he officially get canceled yet?
No, he canceled culture, apparently. But
he almost got canceled this past weekend.
Yeah, he did. But then,
which I feel like is like every other weekend for Dave.
But then I saw he made a tweet about his One Bite pizza sales going up 50%.
Yes.
And he's like, we literally canceled cancel culture, and he's like, this isn't about the money. I'm donating $315,000 to the Barstool Fund. Like,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
Barstool Fund. Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm sure that's one of their charities, like that they, it initially started because of restaurants, but they have the influence with that. So, situationship. So, Matt, there are a few signs of whether or not you're in a situationship or not.
Okay.
Well, I should say you are possibly in a situationship. The first one is an absence of plans.
That seems logical, yeah.
At the point where you kind of want to hang out, you maybe, have a consistency going on. There's no consistency going on. Matt, the next one? Okay, go ahead.
No, it just sounds like friends with benefits.
Yes.
I'm going to keep a tally of what's friends with benefits, what's relationship. Now we got friends with benefits.
Mm-hmm. Second one, conversations that tend to be superficial and often sexual in nature.
I'm going to put that one in the friends with benefits category.
The next one, you haven't met their friends or family members.
That is an FWB.
And then this is really stupid. There's no talk about what's next.
That is also an FWB.
I think we've already cracked the code, Matt.
I think we have. You know what? I think people just say situationship. I think you're just being chuggy at that point.
Chuggy.
Yeah. Throw that. Is that still? Do the kids still say that word?
Well, Stephen Colbert said that a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, it's still him.
All right. So it might be dead now.
Still,
if Stephen Colbert said it might be over. It had its moment.
He always jokes around about anytime it refers to old people, and he goes, "Oh, like my CBS viewers."
Right.
Let's just break. If we have to give advice for two men who are in very sustainable relationships right now, talk. That's the whole point of any relationship, whether it's sexual, non-sexual. You are sharing your deepest, darkest secrets. You're running a podcast together. Talk. Matt and I have business meetings, and socks are on after that.
Absolutely.
It just goes on. But yeah, just talk. And if the person, let's put it this way, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If your quote other half is not comfortable talking about it, they're not mature enough, and you need to leave. Boom, I said it.
Snaps for Mike.
I said it.
So that was beautiful. Everybody at home gives snaps out to Mike.
You literally spend so much time with this individual, and you don't even say a thing about what's next in the journey. That's on you, man. The onus is on you for figuring that out.
Hey, all those kings and queens listening, listen, they don't deserve you. They do not deserve you. do not. If you want to talk about it and they don't, you dump their ass.
Right.
Yep.
Sayonara,
Kick them to
bitch.
the curb.
Kick him to the curb.
Hasta la vista.
Na.
Hey.
Goodbye. You could say something different if you'd like. So yeah, maybe you're listening right now and you're like, maybe I'm in a situationship, but really in reality, you're friends with benefits. Talk about it. Just say, what are we? Or who are we?
You'll be surprised. Maybe you both want the same thing.
And you're not talking about it.
Correct.
I feel like we've turned into just a lifestyle podcast now where we're just giving advice about situations.
You know what? Whatever. Seems to be working.
There's this radio show in my area that does Email Wednesday, and it's this big, long scenario that's about a certain particular listener that has an issue that we should share that advice. It's pretty interesting. So, yeah, Matt, final thoughts?
I think you summed it up pretty good. Just talk, communicate. If you feel like you want to pursue something, you should feel comfortable enough to tell them. And if you don't feel comfortable enough to tell them, maybe you have a conversation with yourself as to see why that is. Because maybe they're really not the right person. Because if it is the right person, you should be able to feel like they want it too. And there should be no hesitation.
So, Matt, I pulled up a quick Email Wednesday from this radio show. But because we're talking about relationships, why not throw in this?
YOLO.
So this Email Wednesday, the prompt is, his wife and friends planned a long couples weekend in the Finger Lakes. You very, very well know about the Finger Lakes, Matt.
I'm going there for Thanksgiving.
Yes. He doesn't drink and is on a fitness kick where he chooses not to drink. He doesn't want to go and be around a bunch of people who have been drinking, but knows she can't go without him. His wife thinks he's being selfish, not wanting to go. He wants to know, is he being unreasonable?
So, can you... I had trouble following that. So the wife's going on a trip and the husband wants to go too?
His wife and friends planned a long couples weekend in the Finger Lakes. So I guess meaning the husband, doesn't drink and is on a fitness kick where he chooses not to drink.
Okay.
He doesn't want to go and be around a bunch of people who have been drinking, but knows she won't go without him. His wife, meaning the wife, thinks he's being selfish, not wanting to go. The husband wants to know, is he being unreasonable?
I would say yes.
He's being unreasonable.
I believe so, because you can still have fun even without drinking. Just because other people are drinking, correct. It's not saying they're going to get sloppy all of them are going to be sloppy or get super drunk.
This is no college party you're dealing with.
Right.
This is adults having wine.
And you're going to go have fun with your wife. And they're
my wife.
That's part of the reason you get married is that you can hang out with your wife and friends at the same time.
And I'm assuming based on the listener area, it's in Pennsylvania. So obviously it's a drive's worth to the Finger Lakes. Why not go and then have her go? And it's a couples trip. She's going to be fifth wheeling the entire time.
Yeah, you know what's weird is that he doesn't want to go and wants to ship her off to the house. What's he doing?
Maybe he's in a little bit of a situationship.
He might be. He very well might be. I hope not too. But it makes you think.
We might do that once a week, Matt. We might bring up a little situationship going on. And this week's situationship.
I can actually give advice now because in a relationship.
We should probably keep it away from relationships at times too, and just career-oriented, personal advice, love advice. The best of both worlds. Matt's fully achieved his full sash of Boy Scouts, life, work, girlfriend.
Yep.
So Matt is ready to give advice forever.
That's what I'm here for, people.
It's what I do, baby.
Especially at the end of every episode.
Yes. And we're not there yet, but we're going to get to it. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, it's Matt's turn. Sports time. Let's say you start a podcast or you're running your own side hustle and have a bunch of links that you want your audience to know about. As a podcast, Matt and I have all of our social media, all of our podcast links, and other important things. Make it easier for your followers to find your important links, social media, and latest content by having it all in one page with Solo.to. I'll be honest, I have used similar websites like this, but nothing compares to Solo.to. All of your links are clean and easy to navigate. Have an upcoming video? It's really easy to make those changes. Plus, Solo.to has opportunities to upgrade to include more customization, advanced analytics, and so much more. Solo.to is giving us a special opportunity for you to get 10% off if you create an account and upgrade. Be sure to go to solo.to/funnybusiness to create your account today. Solo.to, it's the way to go. Do you think, Matt, people are tired of hearing our Anchor ad?
Yeah, probably. But let's be honest, if it wasn't for Anchor, we would not be doing a podcast.
You're right, Matt. Once again, we have to thank Anchor for helping us continue to make each episode. Y'all know how it works. Anchor is free. It's easy to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and distributes your podcast to platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more.
And you all know that you can make money too, even with the first couple episodes that you start with.
So why haven't you started your own podcast yet? Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm.
So, Mike, when do you think we'll stop talking about Anchor?
Oh, man, Matt. You know what? To be completely honest, I think we'll be talking about this for a long time.
Okay, let's slide into the sports topics we have for you all today. A lot of not really sports-specific topics. It was a slow storyline in the sports world this week. Mike, I don't know if you saw real quick, big rumor that came out today as this recording on Monday. The Boston Celtics and 76ers talking about a Ben Simmons trade. I don't hate that, actually, because apparently Jaylen Brown would be going to the Sixers. I think it's pretty clear that the Celtics need to do something with Brown and Tatum. They just don't seem to be jiving. And Philly, I think, has 8-2, top in the East right now. So they clearly don't need Ben Simmons. Don't hate it.
It's not a bad idea. They are 8-2 right now, Matt. They are on a win streak of 6.
Yeah, no, they're playing some good teams too. So that'll be interesting to keep your eye on. Speaking of basketball, Mike, I've seen a debate going around the internet the last couple of weeks. And I've heard this from a sports podcast in the past, and now people are starting to really catch on to it. So there's two really big things in basketball that make you feel really good on offense. Not that I can do either of those things, but regardless, NBA players love making threes, because who doesn't love making a three-pointer?
It's becoming the game now.
It really is. And they love dunking, because who doesn't love the dunk? Did you ever dunk?
Once, but not in a game.
Okay. 2 feet or 1 foot? Did you jump off 2 feet or 1?
It's like, what? I'm like 10 feet.
Did you jump off both foot or 1 foot?
1 foot.
Left or right?
Right, actually. You know, I've never tried left. That's probably would have been great. Matt, why
my left leg's stronger.
Why did we have this podcast years ago?
I don't know. My left leg's a lot stronger, so I came close once, but I had to use both feet.
How did you did you gather it yourself? Like, did you hold on to it and go, or did you have to throw it up in the air and then grab it?
I gathered it myself.
Like you had it the whole time.
I had the ball the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have tried that too. Try to throw the ball up in the air and then run and then gather yourself, and then that's when you can go up. So
yeah, most of us 5'9".
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's possible.
So
correct. But anyway, so the big debate going around the internet, Mike, is obviously people like shooting threes. Some people like dunking. What's better? So the big question is, what is cooler to do? Or like, what gives you a better feeling as a player? Would it be dunking over someone, like posterizing them, like they go up for a block, you yam it on them? Or is it taking a three-pointer and this guy has his hand right in your face and you just drain it, nothing but net? What would you rather have? What would you rather do?
I'm surprised there's no honorable mention of like crossing somebody up and like the guy falling on the ground.
You could throw that in there or like cross them up.
No, we'll go with the 2.
Okay.
You know, draining a 3 in someone's face is very situational. Whether it's the start of the game, if it's the game tying shot, if it's the go-ahead shot. There's a lot of scenarios that go in it, but I think what's one that's the most consistent is dunking over somebody. And I don't think it's cooler. I just think it is much more adrenaline than shooting a three in someone's face. The fact that somebody was going to try to block you and that did not happen. I think there's a reason why it's called a poster, because legit, you're dunking on somebody and it looks like a poster.
It's a tough choice because, like, honestly, dunking is something that, like, very few people can do. Mm-hmm. So it is hard for, like, you and I to say, well, I'd rather dunk because we can't even dunk.
Right.
If we had the ability to do both, I honestly, it's so close to call. I think I would lean towards the 3-pointer because, like, I just feel like there's something about it. Like, it's easier to distract someone, I think, taking a three. You just put your hand up and yell. Like, with a dunk, you do have to get pinpoint accuracy to block the ball.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's a little easier to mess up someone on a 3-pointer. And that way, like, once you make it and you just turn around and just, like, look right at him, like, you hold the arm, you just look right at him, walk back down the court. Like, it's nothing but net. Yeah, little Chef Curry.
Yeah, I can agree with you, Matt. I believe that, when it comes to dunking, again, I think it's very situational when it comes to shooting a three in someone's face. Like, it could either be the start of the game, first play of the game, shoot a three. Could be in the middle of the game when, it's still kind of back and forth between each other. Could be the thing that ties it. Could be the thing that wins it. Could be the thing that sends it into overtime. Like, more of a dunk, I think more the physical feat of that, like, the go-ahead dunk, the breakaway dunk, I think there's more scenarios that get you more style points per se than shooting a three in someone's face.
See, but I could argue the dunks are situational too.
But, like, you still have that, like, I feel, because if someone's trying to go for a dunk, chances are you're going to get an and one from that if someone tried blocking you. Most cases than not.
Right.
Now that
the new counterpoint, 4-point play.
Not with the new NBA rules.
Well, if they close out on someone, you could.
Yeah, well, close out on somebody awfully.
Or you just, smack their arm as I smack my microphone. Smack their arm as they take the three.
Have I had 4-point plays? I think I've had a 4-point play at least.
I don't think I ever made a 3-pointer in an actual game. I don't know about that.
I have. And I've actually made a game-winning shot, believe it or not, the fourth quarter.
That's awesome.
That was... and then during warm-up, because that was actually the JV game. Yeah, Tom, this is the JV game. It's still cool, though. I could not miss during warm-up. Like, I kept hitting the shot every time during warm-up. I could not miss. Like, it's like, all right, coach, put me in. But the idiot never put me in, so... Whatever.
Hate to see it.
I
really hate to see it. So let's switch from offense in basketball to some defense in baseball. Mike, can't really make this stuff up with Major League Baseball. So Sunday night, this past Sunday, they announced the Gold Glove Award winners for National League and American League in the middle of Sunday Night Football when everybody's watching football. In the middle of football season with no announcement. They just no anticipation. They just announced it. So I don't know how people are supposed to get excited for that. Like maybe like, hey, Monday afternoon, it's a great time to announce it. No one's talking about sports. There's nothing going on. No, we're going to announce it in the middle of Sunday Night Football. You really can't make this up.
Wasn't there a draft happening in the middle of something too? Like, not like this past
week,
but like there was. Wasn't it the NFL draft?
No, the Major League Baseball draft was something. It was during like the NBA playoffs or the finals or something like that. Yeah, it's really
way to go, Manfred.
Top notch stuff. So the Gold Glove finalists did come out. For those that don't know, Gold Gloves are for the best fielder at position in each league. Which got me thinking, Mike. Let's say we wanted to win a Gold Glove in Major League Baseball. what do you think the easiest position to play? What's the easiest? Yeah, what's the easiest position that you could win a Gold Glove in? And we can even go like, if you want, we can go position by position and break it down.
Can we do that? Because I have a few like loopholes.
We can do that. Okay. So let's go in order like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, I just want to make. I got to remember. Like, I have to remember.
Right. So first one is pitcher.
Pitcher.
Hardest one.
So only when it's pitching. The fielding aspect, however, see that's the point. I was like, okay, pitcher, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. He has to throw the ball and play. In most cases, and this was just something that coaches taught, the pitcher's not supposed to do anything besides pitch. Like if it's a fly ball, unless the first baseman's going over, like.
See, I think it's the hardest one.
You think?
Because for 2 reasons. One, if it's a number down to like a little nublet down to third baseline, you have to hustle to try to get help to get like if it's close towards the pitcher, he's got to try to run towards home plate. Where his momentum's taking him towards the dugout, he's got to stop and go back to first. That's tough. 2, you got like 110-mile-an-hour line drives coming back at your face that you got to try and catch because you're like 60 feet apart.
60 feet. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of pitchers just can't throw to first base. They just can't do it. Whether it's like a pickoff attempt or like a little ground ball back at him, it's very tough. And the other thing is, if it's a ground ball that's in between first and second, you got to try to get to the bag to cover first. And sometimes the throw's not great. You got to catch the ball and be aware of not running into the runner and stepping on the bag correctly and not getting your ankle stepped on. Like, I think pitching does seem like an easy one, but I think when you break it down, it might be one of the hardest ones, if not the hardest.
Yeah.
Catcher.
Tools of ignorance.
You really have to be on your game to win a Gold Glove in catching.
Well, and think about it too. You're the reason why the ball is continuously in play. Every pitch, no matter if it's hit, caught, like I think it's tough being a catcher. Have you caught ever?
I never did, no. I was supposed to learn and then I just never put the gear on.
Do you know Trent's been a catcher?
Really?
Trent has been a left-handed catcher.
I did not know that. That's awesome. Yeah. Left-handed catchers are badass.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, to keep the ball in play and to take 99, 100 mile an hour fastballs and some are in the dirt, like, yeah, you have to make sure. And then back before there was less collisions, like throw to home. And you had to protect home plate because that's how people scored. Yeah.
And you're going to have terrible knees when you grow up. First base.
Challenging.
It can be.
Depending on the rest of the team. Depending on the rest of the team.
Correct. Yes. I played first base 1 year because I was the oldest kid on the team. I was the best kid on the team for a year, which is surprising to hear, but it was. And they needed me at first base because they knew I could catch the ball. And I was agile enough that it was a bad throw, I could still try to save it and not overthrow me. I actually loved playing first base. It was a lot of fun. But you're right, it can be very challenging. And scooping the ball, like in the dirt, is not easy.
I used to love. I
did too.
First base was my position. If I wasn't pitching, it was either first base or the outfield. Dude, at first base, that was so much fun. Like being able to get a nice scoop or, fielding every play. Like that was, you had to have somebody who you trusted at first, like in order for you to catch ground balls, anything like that. But it could be difficult depending on the team. Like you had a real crappy throw at third base, that's you're gonna have a hard time. So
I agree. Second base,
is it second and then shortstop?
It's second and then third and shortstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate to be that person to skip, but I feel like I can combine second and short as far as equal difficulty.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
So
I think that's pretty fair. You just had the only difference, not the only difference, but shortstop does have to have a better arm.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
that's really
longer.
That's the main thing. But yeah, knowing where you are, being a cutoff position, They're difficult jobs. I think second base people sometimes think is like really easy. It's really not. I played second base for a long time. It can be difficult. And shortstop, you have to do it all, pretty much. Third base.
Pretty decently challenging. I'd say, I hate that combined first base, but opposite of that, like you have to make sure you throw, I think it's 120 feet, depending on, 60.
Around there.
Yeah, 120 feet from bag to bag, because most, if not most of all ground balls go in that general vicinity between shortstop and third base, and usually it's the third baseman that has it.
I think third base could be the hardest infield position to play.
Yeah.
You got the hot corner, you got line drives coming at you, and you do have to have a fantastic arm. And you got to be able to cover a bunt, things like that. It's not easy. Left field. This is my answer.
Really?
Left field, 100%. I know everyone. Were you going to pick right field?
I was going to pick right field.
Okay, so I was going to say right field myself. However, there's one big difference. So right field and left field. Now, right field, you're going to get less balls. If it's a pull hitter, you're going to get less because there's usually right-handed batters. However, here's the big difference. People don't realize. If you hit a ball down the line in right field and left field, it's about the same distance to try to throw it to second. If a guy's going for a triple, it's a lot easier to try and throw him out from left field than it is right field, is it not?
I never thought of that.
Even if you're in like left center, you might not get him, but that's going to stop him from potentially going home. Like if you're all the way in the right field corner, that's an automatic triple if the guy's really fast.
But I think the one thing you have to keep in mind is the percentages between left-hand batters and right-hand batters.
Correct, and I acknowledge that.
And I think there's less power if there's a right-handed batter that's late on the ball and it's a pop-up to right field versus a hard line drive to left field.
Yeah, no, that's correct. You're not wrong on that. I just think they're basically the same position on the field, except like right fielder is never going to throw a guy out from first. I mean, pretty much in the major league. It happens maybe once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. Like left field obviously doesn't have that opportunity, but they can throw a guy out easier at third base, which I think would be more valuable.
Yeah. But wait, you said left field's easier.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Throwing a guy out at third base is more valuable, which is why left field would be a little easier advantage than the right fielder.
Makes sense.
And then center field, tough.
You're the commander in chief in the outfield.
You have to do it all.
Yep.
And you can't even if it's a ball down the left field line, you have to go back up because God forbid the left fielder gets injured. You got to get to the ball. You have to cover both right center and left center field gaps. You have to have a good arm in center field. You just do.
I've said it once and I've said it many times when I've seen softball or baseball. It's like a deer in the frickin' woods. You got to be everywhere, frolicking around the outfield.
I had a few years that I played center field. I had 1 year, Mike, I had to throw like 7 guys out. My arm was never really good. It was very inconsistent, except I had 1 year. It was fantastic. And then I lost it after that. I don't know what happened.
Was it a beeline or was it like a kind of
a little bit of both.
So you were almost there to get that beeline.
Yeah,
throw,
more of an arc, I would say. But that 1 year, I was just, it was awesome. Felt like I was like Mickey Mantle. So if you think you have a position that you think you can go glove in, let us know. Solo.to/funnybusiness. Find all of our social medias. And that will conclude the sports topics we have for you all today. It is time, even though we kind of just did a couple versions of Take It, it's time for an actual version of Take It. Okay, so I think you're going to like this one. It's not food related, which I know for a long time I just did food once, so I try to steer away from those. This one's really going to make us think, I think. Sounds weird. Mike, would you rather be a famous actor or a famous singer? You don't even have to throw famous out there. Would you rather be a really good actor or a really good singer?
No, I'm cool. I'm cool with the famous part being in it.
Okay.
I would say a famous actor. And I guess I'll give my reason because obviously I was the one first to shoot. You know, a famous actor can be in multiple movies, but there's always this one movie that you're synonymous for. I'll take Robert Downey Jr., for example. Iron Man. Or Tony Stark. Tony Stark playing Robert Downey Jr. because that has been said multiple times in YouTube comments and tweets. But he was in Dr. Dolittle. He's in Sherlock. Like, okay, yeah, he was good. He's also in that weird movie with Zach Galifianakis. I think it was called Due Date, and it was literally the two of them on a road trip. So it's Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis in a car traveling to this like end destination. I think I forget Robert RDJ's name, but he was expecting his wife to have a kid, and Zach Galifianakis, I forget the relationship between the two of them, but they had to do that. So, like, yeah, of course, you're going to relate to be like, oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr. Oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr. As Tom Holland would say. But even like Tom Holland, like Tom Holland got his gig with, I know I'm talking a lot about Marvel, but, you know, start out in Marvel, but any movie that comes up, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to go see that movie. And I feel like the singer part, like, yeah, okay. It only depends on if it's a few individuals. Like if Drake shows up to a song, like, okay, I'm going to listen to it because it's Drake. But like the movies drive more attention to the actors than the singers do in the songs.
Oh, I disagree.
You think?
Oh, I very much disagree.
Okay.
So if you have a really banger of a song, people are going to listen to it on the radio. They're going to listen to it on their Spotify or Apple Music. You can use that song in a movie. You can use that song in a TV show. Use that song in a commercial. I feel like
same as an actor.
Right. You can, so actors
Shaquille
have
O'Neal,
movies.
Shaquille O'Neal and his Icy Hot commercials.
Correct. So actors have TV, movies, commercials. Correct.
Music videos.
But you okay? But it's a music video, so you're using a song. Correct.
Yeah, but you would still, like, if it ended up being that it was a song, like, you would relate the actor to the song. I think it still
okay, but when you listen to the song, you're going to think of the musician, not the actor in the music video. Because they are the ones that wrote the song. That's why the music video is happening.
But then, aren't the people in the music videos that are singing actors?
No, they're musicians because they're singing the song. They just happen to make a music video. Musicians don't make music videos for every song.
Have you seen the behind the scenes of making a music video, Matt?
Yes.
They don't sing. They act.
They sing. They sing.
Act.
All right, but you don't make a music video for every song that you come out with. You only make it for certain ones that you want to make a music video for. Being a musician, it's way more versatile. You can use your stuff way more than being an actor.
I think the only thing that is the deal breaker for me of being a singer than an actor is the record company. The record company owns you.
Sure. But you could say the same thing to an extent with actors.
To an extent. Not totally.
Correct.
Like, yeah, right. You could be a part of a talent agency, but that's usually, for up and coming people. Like, whereas singers, once they sign the label, they're on the label. They can't get off the label. And they really can't make, I mean, unless you're Macklemore, who completely just
unless you're just Taylor Swift and then just the Queen just remakes all of her songs because that's just. Oh, by the way, happy Taylor's version day of is it Red? Is she redoing Red today? I should know this. It's Monday, so I haven't been able to listen to it yet. But she's got another Taylor's version coming out today.
I also said something about Mariah Carey being 11.5. Did we figure out what that was?
What?
Remember I said that there was something in her video where Oh, Mariah Carey to release a new single on November 5th. But what is it?
Well, it's November 8th right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It didn't really pop that big.
No, I didn't even know about it. Here's the other thing I'm going to say for the whole...
Sorry, Fall in Love at Christmas. So that's the song.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll listen to it after the podcast.
Yeah, right, correct.
We don't ruin any copyright.
Correct. Oh, hey, that's interesting. Mike just said he wanted to listen to a Christmas song before Thanksgiving. Huh. That's very interesting. Moving on. So if you're a famous actor, right, everyone's going to know your face. So when you get seen in public, you're going to be known 24/7. There are some... Now, this isn't all musicians. There are some musicians...
You said famous musicians.
So there's some famous musicians that I listen to. I don't know what they look like. I just don't. Or you be a guy like Marshmello and no one knows what you look like.
Well, I mean,
or
he's a freaking
or Daft Punk. Daft Punk. No one knows what you look like.
Yeah, but they don't. They stopped making music, Matt.
They still did at some point. I'm not saying
not anymore. Not anymore.
They're still famous musicians, famous singers. That's like saying Elvis isn't a musician because he's dead. He's a musician. He's a famous musician.
Yeah, I would still go with the famous actor. Like, you'd be more the memes, like more of the scenes. Like, come on. How many times do we quote a line from a famous actor in a famous movie rather than, oh, I'm going to sing a few lyrics for...
You sing lyrics every episode.
Yeah, because
every episode.
Listen.
Well, exactly.
Listen. Wait, I saw one on Wolf of Wall Street, and it's like, do you know anything about Chop? Yeah, I'll chalk your mother effing credit card. That's
I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street, by the way.
What?
Never seen it. And well, it's funny because April said she wanted to watch it this weekend. We never did. And she had the same reaction.
Get a lot of popcorn, man. It's a 3-hour movie.
I always wanted to watch it.
Always wanted to?
Yes. I also just feel like I feel like singing is just a better talent than acting. That Matthew McConaughey, doesn't he do that?
Oh, wow, Matt, you knew that was Matthew McConaughey. You didn't know it was Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, because I listened to an interview he did with Part of My Take, and that's how they started the interview. That's how they started the interview. That's how I knew he did that.
Oh, famous actor, huh?
Okay, so you act like if I didn't sing a song right now, I'd be like, oh, famous singer.
What's the... Matt, you're being really edgy with me lately. First, you'd yell at me because I apparently spoiled Squid Games. And now
you did spoil Squid Games.
Okay, Matt, I asked you. This is another take it.
Okay, hold on.
This is another take it. Let me finish.
Leave her out of this.
I'm going to let you finish, but...
Okay, you could have spoiled it for someone who we don't know.
Right.
Because you said you weren't giving spoilers, then you spoiled it and said, spoiler alert. You said spoiler alert after you spoiled the show. After you said you're not going to spoil the show.
So, you know what, Matt? I know what shows Jenna's watching right now.
Okay.
Shouldn't you know what April's watching?
I do know what April's watching.
Do you share a Netflix account now? Because of your relationship.
We do not. No, we don't.
Are you still watching?
I am. Yes, we are still watching. So what I said.
Which, by the way, Titanic is on Netflix. If you want to watch another DiCaprio.
I have to. So what I said was she started it. I said I don't know if she finished it because she was watching it with her friends.
Oh.
But let's leave her. What if some random person was listening to this show and you said you're not going to spoil it? You're like, you know what? I'm gonna let them finish. And then you spoiled it, and it's a no spoiler afterwards. Well, we might get canceled now. Well, thanks. Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing. That was played by Squidward. Famous actor, Squidward.
Yeah, what's
tentacles.
True. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, so I was going to redirect the question and be like, I don't know, Matt, who was the voice actor for that?
Don't ask me.
Who's the voice actor for SpongeBob?
Steven Hillenburg.
That's the creator.
I know.
Tom Kenny.
There we go.
Gabriel Iglesias was in Space Jam 2.
Was he?
Yeah.
What did he do?
I'm not good with Looney Tunes names, but Looney Tunes.
Was he Michael B. Jordan?
No. It was. Oh my God, what was his name? Speedy Gonzalez. Speedy Gonzalez.
Okay. Yeah.
Ándale.
I don't know how we got here. No idea.
I think Wolf of Wall Street, person, man, woman, camera, TV. So Wolf of Wall. So that was. I think I shared this on the pod. Now we're done. We're done with famous actors.
This episode has gone off the rails.
Whatever.
Thank you for still listening to this.
If you are,
whatever this is.
Because I think I said to Jenna, I said Wolf of Wall Street is one of my favorite movies with DiCaprio. Because then she said about Titanic. So we split. Like we watched Wolf of Wall Street first, and then we watched Titanic second. I liked both, but
never seen either.
Well, I don't want to spoil what happens in Titanic, Matt. What?
Hey, Mike, can you do me a favor?
Can I stop?
No, just go yourself.
What? What was that for?
Nothing.
You're getting very edgy with me, sir. You're done.
Oh, I'm done? Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're done.
There it is.
You're done.
Okay.
Because I didn't tell you to go F yourself. Anyway, what did I do to you? Who hurt you?
Hold on. Both of us. Hold on.
Who hurt you?
Let's know one.
No, I'm asking you this first question. Who hurt you? Why is my mic raising up?
No, what are you doing?
It was like
no one hurt me. Let's. Is that a microphone in your pocket, or are you just excited to see me?
I'm very excited to see you, Matt.
Okay, there it is. Okay, you're done.
Okay, we're good.
Let's both take a deep breath. Okay, let's end the podcast on a positive note. Wow.
You deserved it.
Anyway.
That concludes another episode of the Funny Business Podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe to all of your podcasting listening platforms. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on all of our social media. You can find all that social media at solo.to/funnybusiness. And until the next time, no, I'm just kidding. Matt, what's your advice for this week?
All right, we are going to get serious for a little bit. We don't really do this much on the podcast, but there was a sports news that kind of put some things in perspective. So my advice today is please don't ever drink and drive. So if you haven't seen, there was a now former wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, Henry Ruggs III, was driving drunk, was also driving 157 miles per hour, 2 times over the legal limit. When he ran into the car, he was going like 125 miles an hour, killed the driver, I believe, and a dog. There's just no excuse for it, people. It is 2021. There's a thing called Uber and Lyft. It's not hard to take one. In his scenario, he's a multimillionaire. You can afford an Uber or Lyft. And if you're one of those persons listening to this podcast, it's like, hey, I can't afford an Uber or Lyft. Well, guess what? Can't afford alcohol either then. So if you don't have a safe way to get home, don't drink. It's like I said, it's 2021. If you're going out with a group of friends, take turns being the designated driver. You can have fun without alcohol.
I also would argue too that if you are a millionaire, wouldn't you just set up some type of car service for, you're going to be drinking a lot? Set up a car? Like
I agree.
Like Matt, I remember when we used to enjoy ourselves back in the good old days. We found a DD before we even started opening cans.
Yes.
And then it was weird because my dad was always like, make sure you have a driver. I'm like, Dad, so we literally find one before we even crack open any cold ones for the boys.
We would start on like a Tuesday being like, hey, would you be who wants the DD this week?
And if not, we would find it.
Yeah, right. Or it was just Uber.
Matt, I'm sorry.
I apologize myself. I'm sorry. So yeah, just don't be stupid, people. It's not hard. We don't need to, You don't need to ruin your life by getting a DUI, and he's probably going to get charged with manslaughter. His career is probably over. We don't need to lose innocent lives because of drunk driving. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and we'll end it on that. And until the next time, we'll see you all in the next episode.
Stay safe, everyone.